G'day guys, this is Neon and this is Flight Simulator 2020. I am going to show you something today on how to use navigational maps, the aviation navigation maps, to be able to navigate your way around Flight Sim 2020 with just a map and a compass. So this is the map that we're going to be using. This is skyvector.com and you can go here and you've got all of the USS World Aeronautical Charts are in here, the whole lot, and you can use them all. And if outside of the US, then it's got World VFR up here, and you can go and use the World VFR chart. The difference you can see here is the level of information you get. This is a World Aeronautical Chart, or a sectional it's called, and you can see you get river names, mountain names, it's just all the little details. Buildings show up, like ranches and things like that will show up. I'm just trying to find one. There's a farm right there. There's a lodge. Whereas up here, the only information you get is aviation related, and these numbers here represent the lowest safe altitude, as do these numbers here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a flight, and we're going to fly from Kilo Lima Whiskey Tango, which is Lewiston in Idaho. We're going to fly up through to Fort Benton, and we're going to use just the map to navigate our way up here, looking for items on the map and then trying to find them on the ground to help us stay on course and not drift left or right. So let's get into it. We're going to be using a Cessna 172. So let's go. So, g'day guys, we're back and we're ready to go do this, and our first course is going to be, it doesn't help that that's red. It really doesn't help that that's red. Our temperature we're going to set to 6,500 feet. We're going to go heading. We're going to use the autopilot. We're not going to need any flaps because we've got a 6,000 foot runway in front of us. Okay, so as I said, our first reporting point when we're taking off, what we're looking for is we've got a railway line coming in on the right hand side here, okay, and just ahead of us on the airport coming out of Lewiston is a railway line and banking southwest, and so we're looking at crossing that railway line and seeing it as we take off coming out of the left hand side of the plane. We've got another railway line that forks off to the north of Lewiston and then goes northwest past this mountain of 5,840 feet and it heads towards Danvers over here. Then it does a little hook left and right, and then it heads southwest to Denton. We've got a couple of ranches over here, so we'll be looking for those. As you can see, our course is 299 and 25 nautical miles to get to Denton, and then we'll pick it up from there. So let's go. Now I'm going to show you this. We've got no flight plan loaded. No flight plan loaded. No flight plan loaded here. We're going to use this because it's going to give us our ground speed, which we can use to work out what our top of descent point is, which I will show you how to calculate that if you don't know. Let's make sure we get full power, put the brakes on. And get full power. Let's go. What we're going to do is going to hold runway heading. We've got wind at 270 at 4. Just a short field takeoff, you would do, I'm talking to new pilots here, you would use one notch of flaps and lift off right about now. But we're not on a short front runway, so we're going to lift off at 65 knots. Whoops. And it jumped into the air. So we're going to stay on runway and we're going to trim for 70 knots. Trimming, 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 trimming. Trying to remove the back pressure. Holding 10 degrees nose up. Just trying to remove the back pressure. I'm going to go on with autopilot. Heading 6,000 feet. the worst thing about this. 500 feet. That's it. That's about it. So at 4,600 feet, we've hit 500 feet. You climb out to 500 feet, then you turn crosswind, or we're going straight out. So, and then we're going to turn onto our course of 299. Here. Looking for that railway line. Here it is. I think that's the railway line. That's the road. Got a car on it. So we're at 4,600 feet. We're going to go to our course. 300. And one back. We are now on course. So, looking for this railway line. There's that mountain I was telling you about, and there's the railway line, this northern railway line I was telling you about, this one here that comes out here, and it goes past the mountain, which is, where did I say the mountain was? 5,400 feet. Yeah, there. So, and there it comes through here. Now, what you might want to do, you might want to pause the video, and you might want to go to skyvector.com yourself, and put in this flight plan. It's this Kilo Lima Whiskey Tango to Denton, to Geraldine, to Fort Benton with a B. And as you can see, I will show you the flight plan here. Actually, I'll do this. Bring the flight plan up. Bring up the NavLog. This is the flight plan. Okay? So you might want to print that on this, just do a print screen, get a capture of that, put it into a paint program, and so and then you can go enter that into SkyVector, put it on a second monitor, so you can do this flight with the map open on the other monitor. Or if you don't have a second monitor, you can move the video to half the screen and have the map on the other half of the screen, and you can use it to come along. So here comes the, I think this is, checking. No, that's the road. So here comes the railway line through here, and we're looking for this. Looking for this little wiggly bit here. We've got Judith River coming through here, coming down here, and we'll find that, which is. Still climbing out, coming up to, almost coming up the top of climb. Now one other thing I want to talk to you about is for those of you who are new to Flight Simulator, you might not know how to use the mixture control. How do you set it? Do you use the fuel flow gauge here, or the EGT, engine gas temperature? Fuel flow are almost immediate. The EGT takes a little while to register. The way you use it is you lean it back, you pull it back, because this is controlling the mixture of fuel and air going into the engine, and it's got to be right, otherwise it won't run properly. So what you want to do is you want to bring it back until the engine starts to drop RPMs. It starts to cough. So you just bring it back, just one notch with the mouse wheel, one notch at a time, until it starts to drop. Push it back in again, and if you go to the fuel flow, and you watch the fuel flow gauge, see how it comes off? That's peak. So you really want to go by the fuel flow, unless if you want to do a really, really long trip and you want to get the maximum endurance out of it, then yeah, bring it back until you get the fuel flow in the green, like that. You'll go slower, but you'll save a lot of fuel. The other way of doing it, there's two schools of thought. You either do it by rich of peak or lean of peak, and I'm just trying to work out where we are. There's the railway line next to us. We're waiting for that to cross underneath us, and that tells us we're at Denton. So we're just going to finish this. So So your two schools of thought were richer peak or leaner peak. So we're going to do it on the fuel flow here. That's peak, so you can either bring it back one, that's leaner peak, bring it back to peak, go in one, which is richer peak. So you choose whichever you prefer. Some people think that, you know, leaner peak is better because you save a little bit of fuel. Other people think you don't save much fuel, so you might as well go richer peak and go a bit faster, which is really minuscule either way. So up to you to decide. But now you know how to use it. Oh, the other one is the EGT, the gas temperature, and that will peak out when it gets to the top temperature. And then you use this little dial to set that. Yeah, just set that little dial. Right there, just spin that. I forgot to start the clock. Now we're looking for Denton. Should be pretty close to us. Here's the railway line, right next to us. So we're coming along here. Railway line's coming through here, I think. Oh. So we're going to be looking for, as I said, we're crossing the Judith River, which is all of this stuff through here. So if you look here, see all these little wiggly lines through here. These are all creeks and rivers, and there's the Wolf Creek, there's the Judith River. So it's a very swampy area through here. So, and it's got little undulations in the ground, so that's what we're seeing through here. And so this is the Judith River just here, and the Wolf Creek over here. So that's pretty much where we are. Now the one thing you have to know about using the map is you've always got to go from map to ground. You never go from ground to map. And the reason is say you look on the map and you go, okay, my next sighting point is, like, there's a road, it crosses at a railway crossing at a 45-degree angle, and it's got a little road off to it going at a certain angle. And you might look down, if you're going from map to ground, you might be looking down and you go, well, that one looks pretty much like what I'm looking for, but one of the angles might be wrong. So you've got a temptation to accept that that is right. And you go, okay, I think that's right, it's just a little bit off, but that's okay. And then that leads you into your first mistake, because your next mark navigation point is going to be wrong as well. The way of knowing whether that you've gone wrong is that you're using the clock here as a timing, because you know by looking here, go to your flight plan, ETE, how long it's going to take you, how many minutes between each leg. So if you get to the next reporting point after the certain amount of time that you're supposed to be there, and you don't find it, then you know you've gone wrong. So then you've got to make a heading correction to try to get back on track. So you always read them from map to ground. That way you can't go wrong. And we're still looking for the railway crossing. I think it's already crossed over. Is it? No, we're not Denton yet. I think we're pretty much on track. Here it is. Here's Denton right here. So if you look here on the map, the railway line crosses underneath us, and it will pop out on the and go west. Then it will go south. Then it will come north, and then it will cross over Arrow Creek, and it will run back to the east, to the northeast, turn left, and go on to Geraldine after a few kinks. And that tells us about Geraldine. Then you've also got King Lake, Big Lake, and so that's our next point. We're now at Denton, so now we're going to have to change course to 310 when we overfly Denton. Now Denton Airport is just down here. It's down here somewhere. Where's the runway? Where's the airport? Oh, sorry, the train line. There goes the train line, right through there. And the airport is, I think, here. It might be underneath us, I'm not sure. We'll take a look in a minute, but right now we're going to go to, we're a little bit right of track. So we're going to go 309. So we're going to go 310. We get the flash of white and come back one. Just so, actually no, I'm going to go 310 because I don't want to be directly over the next marking point. So this is Denton down here. And the airport is, we'll see the airport in a minute. So the lowest safe altitude through here is when you're setting your altitudes with the map, you always set it for the lowest safe altitude for the entire course. So for here, on this flight plan, our lowest safe altitude is 6,200. There might not be a mountain in your way at 6,200, but if you're in IFR conditions, you really don't know, are you left of track, are you right of track, are you on course or not? So you go lowest safe altitude 6,200 plus 1,000. I think it's 1,000 or 1,500, I can't remember exactly. It's been a long time since I was flying. But our next target, actually we're gonna go a little bit left, I think. We're gonna go a little bit left. We're gonna go 5 degrees left. So no, we're not. We're right. 310. Back on that. That'll do. So our next point is, as I said, when the railway line zoom in, comes over here, it goes across, then it comes down and it goes back over Arrow Creek, which comes through here, and then it turns to the northwest and it kinks left, then it kinks left again, kinks right, kinks left into Geraldine. We know we're at Geraldine because you've got this Dogleg Lake here, Kingsbury Lake. Then you've got another lake called Big Lake, and then you've got White Lake. And the nice thing about the maps is that it gives you all the information you want. This is the airfield elevation, the airport elevation at Geraldine. And up here we know that the airport belt elevation for Fort Benton is 2,869 feet. So we can use that to calculate our top of descent, which is going to be around here somewhere. I haven't worked it out yet. You don't only use the map to navigate, you're also using the timer on the here. You're also, because you compute your estimated time en route for each leg of the flight. You compute your ground speed. This is in your planning stage. You work out exactly what you think your ground speed is going to be, and you decide your ETA right down to within a minute. And you can fly, you do fly within a minute. You can get to your destination within a minute, depending on the weather. And so all of this is done in symphony together. So you're using not just the map, but you're also using the heading that you've got to fly. You're also calculating what the wind is doing based on the weather briefing that you got. So if you know that you're at 6,500 feet and there's a 5 knot crosswind, then you can use the E6B Flight Computer, which is the rotary slide rule, to calculate what your crosswind component is, because the crosswind is going to push you left off track, so that you need to make a correction to your heading so that you can counter that crosswind. And you can calculate that out on the E6B. Now I'll put it up here and show you what an E6B looks like, and you can buy one from the flight sim store. I would advise you go and buy one. It's only about $20. So useful, you can do so many things with it. You can also get one for your phone. It takes longer to use the one on the phone because you've got to enter the numbers in. You take an E6B Flight Computer, the rotary calculator, you can calculate your time and distance in about 5 seconds. It's just set the speed, rotate the thing and read the distance at the top, read the time. That's it. And not only that, you can do true airspeed, fuel burns, density, altitude, true airspeed, so many different things. So there's one on, if you want the phone app, there's one called the E6BX for Android. You can probably get the same thing for the iPhone. So we are coming up to here. We have come up to here. Here's the railway line coming up here, so we're at Kinks Left, just like on the map here. Kinks Left there, so we are here, about here. And so now we're looking for the railway line kinking left, kinking right, kinking left to Geraldine. to make a track correction of 20 degrees because I actually want to be further over. There's the railway line there. I would like to be closer to the railway line. Because we're about half a mile off track. So here's the railway line that goes through here. And it kinks right and kinks left. Here's the dog leg, Kingsbury Lake. See, it's got a dog leg in it. See? That tells you that Geraldine is right about here somewhere. Maybe here. Right about there. Yeah, right about there. There's Big Lake out there. Can't see White Lake yet. But we're just going to get a bit closer to the railway line. I'll have to close about half that distance. So our ground speed at the moment is 119 knots, which is useful because we're going to use that in a minute. B&D. If you're new to this, new to flight sim, 2 keys to remember. When you're flying a plane, the gyros and the altimeter drift. Well, the gyros drift. And it's called precession. It has a drift in it. So every 10 minutes, you've got to realign it with the compass. And you've got to take into account this card, but I'm not going to go into this card. Because this card makes corrections based on the effect all the radios have. Because all these radios affect the compass. Because they're all emitting magnetic fields. So they affect the compass. So these numbers here give you correction values for each heading. So if you look here, if you wanted to go 030, you would have to steer 028 to account for the effect the radios have. But I doubt very much that is simulated in Flight Simulator, so you can pretty much ignore that, because in Flight Simulator it's not simulated. I'm pretty certain. And we're going back to our heading 310. There we go. Back on 310. Now you can see where the railway line goes. Goes out here and then it kinks left. This sim is beautiful. Let's see if we can get better lighting. Hey, isn't that pretty? Oh, that's so pretty. I love you can do that. You get to just change the time of day. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Up a bit, up a bit, up a bit. Let's go over that. Get some nice sunshine dappled on the cockpit. Oh, look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Let's go outside. We still got a few. Oh, wait a minute. Here's Geraldine. Right here. We're on top of it. There's the dog leg there. The dog leg lake, Kingsbury Lake. We are bang on track. Let it go away. This is where we are. There's Kingsbury. There's the dog leg lake. So we are bang on track. We are going to make a course change now, because I'm going to make an addition to our flight plan. Because our flight plan takes us direct to Fort Benton, but what we don't want to go to direct to Fort Benton. What we want to do is go to the base leg, drag that and put that right there, and GPS course. Now a new course is 309. Put that over there. Three. Well, we're just about there anyway. So now we're going to do our top of descent. Now I'm going to show you how to calculate top of descent. Now we know that from the map, we know that the elevation of the runway is 2,869 feet. We know that we are at 6,500 feet. So we're going to go 6,500 feet minus, let's say, 2,900. The elevation of the runway. That gives us 3,600 feet we've got to go down to get down to 1,000 feet. So we divide that by 500 feet a minute. At 7.2 minutes to get down to that 1,000 feet AGL. Now we've got to get this into a fraction of an hour. So we're going to divide it by 60. And now we're going to multiply that by our ground speed, which is 122 knots. 122. And that's how far out we've got to be. So 14.6 miles, that's our top of descent. So our top of descent is going to be about here. This is our top of descent. Right there. When we hit this lake, the north shore of this lake, when we're abeam that, we're going to start our descent. And I'm already going to set it up. So we're going to go down to 3,800. So it's already set, ready to go. All I've got to do is press arm and then set the descent rate. And we've got this is big lake over here. As you can see here. Big lake right there. Got some rivers over here. Now this river through here, this is the Missouri River. Now you notice, because we're coming in here, there's an airport here. We've got the river comes through here. The railway keeps alongside the river and curves with it, and just on this curve is the runway. So there's also a tower here, a beacon, and that's Loma. That tells you that's 311 feet tall, I think, which is 3,200 feet above. That is actually, I think, on the altimeter it would read, if you flew level with it, that would read 3,244 feet. Okay, we're coming up to North Shore. Right on this river here, I think. Right on this little creek here. These happy little people in their house. Got it. So let's go arm. Altimeter. 500 feet a minute. Down she goes. And let's bring the power back to 2,500 for a cruise descent. Doesn't really matter in this because these are not study level planes. And we'll time this. It says 7 minutes to get down to 1,000 feet, so we'll time it. So as I said before, the wind is 270 at 4, I think it was, Fort Benton. In traffic. Runway. 23. Worry about that later. So pretty. Let's go outside. This is a really nice plane to fly in real life. It's got very light controls, and it's quite agile. And it really is a nice plane to fly. So is the 152. The 152 is a little bit more agile. So we're still descending, coming up to 4,400 feet. Here's the Missouri River in front of us. Now we've got to make a correction because this is where we've got to be in this little loop here. Let me show you. See, this is where we're supposed to be. We've actually drifted off track because we've got the wrong heading. Or maybe we've got a crosswind or something. So I'm going to make about a 20-degree correction. I'm going to 290 and see if that works. Rudder. That's about right. That's about right. So actually I'm going to go a little bit left, a little bit more. So there's one thing you need to know about flying, well, about if you're new. I'm talking to people who are new here to Flight Simulator, because those of you who've been doing it for years, you know all of this stuff. But for those of you, and we've got a lot of new people joined in, if you find when it comes to landing, you don't always use full flaps. If you've got a short runway, then yeah, you go full flaps. The main function of flaps is to change the angle of the aircraft in relation to the airflow. It basically just lowers the nose, and it also is, we're down to 40, yep, that's fine, and it also we're going to bring the speed back. It also, you put down your first notch of flaps, and then you don't touch it again until you get onto approach and find out, are you high or low? If you're high, then you put down more flaps. If you're not high, then there's no reason to put down more flaps, unless of course the runway is a really short runway, because you don't need full flaps for landing, unless of course it's like a jet or something rather, then yeah, they always go full flaps. But GA planes don't. You don't need to. So our runway is going to be just over here. I think it's right about there. And we're going to go a little bit further left. So we've got 300 feet to go. 400 feet to go. Slow it down a bit more. I'm going to bring it down into the white arc and bring it down to 1500 RPM, because we're coming into base leg. Get into the white arc here so we can lower our first notch of flaps. As we get in the white arc. Here's the first notch of flaps. You notice that the plane pitches up, and then it will lower the nose. I'm looking for 65 knots. We've leveled off. Now you want to, when you turn final, you want to be about 700 feet AGL, and here's our runway over here. I'm going to step back a bit. Oops. No, not that much. Get back up. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to kill the autopilot. Trim it down to 65 knots. Get back up. You'll be able to see that. So 2,800 feet it was. So that means, yeah, that's 3,500 feet we want to turn final. See, there's the runway. I'm going to keep descending. 3,500 feet we're going to turn final. I need to get the nose down more though, so I'm going to put more power. There we go, that's better. There we got 65 knots. Should be just coming up on final. And we really don't need any more flaps. So we're going to turn final. A little bit early, I think. Yeah, just about. Settling at 65 knots. Okay, we're going down. So if you're new, then you control, pitch controls your airspeed with trim, and power controls your altitude. Don't use pitch to control your altitude. that will just get you crashed. We're just going to bring the power back. I mean, those of you who are old hands at this would know all of that stuff. So there's another thing I'm going to show you right now, is there's a trick called, if you're really high and you can't get down, we're high. I'm going to put another notch of flaps down. There's a trick you can do, you can cross your controls, called a side slip. You go right rudder and left aileron. And you sink like a stone. We're going to go the other way now because we're sinking the other way. You really sink like a stone. If you're on a forced landing, that is what you have to do. When I was doing my flight training, we had to do that. And we have to go full flaps now because we're not going to get in. We are long, but we're still not up 65 knots yet, so we're fine. I like high approaches in real planes because if you get an engine failure, you can still make the field through gliding. These things are so sensitive. So sensitive. Then I'll show you exactly why you want to be able to do this. Okay, you jump into something like we're just going to cross country here just to get this up stopped so I can show you this. We're just going to stop here. There's the guy there. Hello. So one of the reasons why you want to do this, if you look at the Piper Cub, the yellow one in your liveries, it doesn't really have any radios. So if you want to use that plane and you want to get into some of the backcountry airports like these ones here, there's only one way you can do it. You have to be able to navigate by a map. And you can get into all of these, you get into the Rockies down here. All these little backcountry airports that you can get into. All of these little places that you can get into if you know how to navigate by a map. So there you go. That's navigating by a sectional. Now, if you really like doing this, then I would advise you to go and buy a. This is a great. This is what it actually looks like when you buy a sectional. This is what the chart looks like. So you buy one of these for your area, and you can buy ones and stick them together around the place, like one north, one south, whatever you like. And this is the coverage. USA. You can get them from every country, and it's got heaps and heaps and heaps of information all through here. So it's really good. I bought two for my location. They're really useful to use. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. That was something a bit different. So there's going to be more flight sim videos. So if it's anything that you would like to learn, whether you want to learn how to use VORs, you want to learn how to do how to use ADFs, you want to learn how to do bracketing on an ADF, you want to learn how to get a position fix with a VOR, an exact position fix, I mean right down to the meter. I can show you that, and anything you like. So let me know and I will make videos about it. I want to make a lot of videos about Flight Sim 2020 because we've never had anything like this before. I cannot wait. Look at that scenery. God damn it. Look at that. Jesus Christ, that's beautiful. Yeah, we've never had anything like this as real as this before. So, it's lovely. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you liked the video, press the like button. If you want to see more, drop a comment. I only do more videos if people ask for them. Because it takes a lot of time and effort to make a video. So if you ask for them, then I will give them to you. No problems. I'm happy to do it. But so you got to ask for it. So there you go. You have a great day. I will see you next week. Oh, if you want to click this link and support us, that would be fantastic. Don't share it. Donate something. Up to you. You have a great day. Bye bye.
Here comes the music. Boom, 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 boom. I'll shoot you right down. Boom, 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 boom. Ow, 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 ow. Boom, 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 boom. I'll shoot you right down. Boom, 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 boom.